Berkeley County Sheriff's Office is dealing with, of course, various crimes in different areas, but now they're also dealing with growth. Today, I talk one-on-one with Berkeley County Sheriff Duane Lewis for this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and like Quintin's Close-Ups on Facebook. Berkeley County Sheriff Duane Lewis, welcome to Quintin's Close-Ups.
Thank you for having me, Quintin.
You're very welcome. You know, generally I see you and your wife down here on the city market a lot.
Every time, as a matter of fact.
That's right. That's exactly right. Yes, sir. And I know that these days, obviously, you've been busy as Berkeley County Sheriff. And of course, you were reelected to that position last year. So tell me, what's new, what's now with the Berkeley County Sheriff's Department?
Well, we're actually in the middle of our budget preparations for, our budget changes in July. So we're working very hard to make sure we have the necessary equipment and tools and all those things we need to do the job for the people in Berkeley County. So a number of initiatives we've started. We've had a number of issues with cars being broken into at night. Actually not being broken into, but cars being left unlocked with firearms inside of them.
Wow.
And valuables. And so we've been working very hard in some of our communities trying to catch those thieves. And we've been somewhat successful, but we're still out there trying to take care of this situation. Everywhere I go and speak, I ask the folks and remind them to please lock your vehicle.
Right.
It's very surprising to me that people, they pull up in the driveway, they get out, they leave a laptop, purse, wallet. Just the other night, I was reading a report, incident report. Guy left his wallet in his car, $1,200 in cash, and a pistol. So, trying to educate the folks and also try to catch these criminals.
Absolutely. So, Sheriff, altogether since January, how many of these cars have been left unattended and actually had their possessions and whatnot actually stolen from them?
It's been numerous vehicles. Typically, what these people are doing, they'll pick a neighborhood. They'll go in about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning when everything's kind of settled down. Some of these folks are from out of the area, so they come in, they park, they put a couple of people out, and they just walk through the neighborhood checking car doors. If the car is locked, they leave it alone. Last year we had a group out of Columbia. They came, they were going through cars. We actually ended up catching them and recovering a lot of stolen property, and also solved some cases for other jurisdictions. And at the end of the night, before morning, they would steal a vehicle and then take that vehicle back to Columbia and try to sell it. So anyway.
Oh, Jesus. So what neighborhoods in Berkeley County are being targeted for this?
At some point in time, it's almost every neighborhood. Right now, we're having an issue in Cane Bay.
Oh, yes.
You know how large that community is. So we put a lot of resources in that area, and we're hoping to be successful.
Now, how many of those people have been coming from Columbia to these neighborhoods?
A number of them, but what we're seeing, we see an outside group come in, but we're also seeing local folks taking an opportunity to go into neighborhoods, and some of them actually live in the neighborhoods, and so they wait till everybody's gone to bed and step out and start their criminal activity.
But there are cameras around, so they cannot get away with that.
We have a lot of video. We do. That is very helpful to us.
Yes. Now, altogether, Sheriff, how much stolen property have you all recovered?
We've got a number of laptops, some firearms that we did recover.
Yes, sir.
People leave jewelry in cars. Of course, the cash is always gone. Credit cards, we got a number of credit cards back and that kind of thing.
Jesus.
But it's not, they're going for the easy stuff, the stuff that they can either trade for drugs
Wow.
or sell.
That's crazy. Now, Sheriff, let me ask you, because you mentioned this earlier, how many cases have you been able to solve that is, pardon me, with these other jurisdictions based on these crimes that have happened in Berkeley County?
Quentin, I don't have those numbers in front of me. We continually work with outside agencies. We all kind of work together on these issues because it affects everybody. I can get those numbers to you at some point, but last year we had a number of those, and so far this year we're still trying to catch up. But it's when these things start happening, our agencies as groups, we get together and talk about it. Our detectives get with North Charleston, Charleston County, Mount Pleasant, the surrounding, Somerville, Dorchester, and we talk about the crimes and the evidence we have, the videos we have, and we try to put it all together.
Now, what else are you working with these areas agencies on as far as crimes?
Well, anything in general. Once it pops up, we all kind of get together and help each other try to solve it. It's been it's a collaborative effort, and I enjoyed the professional relationships with the police chiefs and the sheriffs, and we get along very well, and our agencies do, and that only helps our communities. If we're all working together to solve a problem, then that's what we should be doing.
Yes, sir.
One issue we're having is traffic complaints. You've seen the influx of people into Berkeley County. Our neighborhoods are exploding. When I came into office in 2015, we were receiving illegal drug complaints, narcotics. That was the highest complaints that we were receiving, and now those have gone away. We focused on that issue for several years, but now the traffic complaints, I get those almost daily about speeding, reckless driving, aggressive driving, all those things that people see on the roads. I understand people are frustrated. The infrastructure is not there in many places to handle the amount of people we have coming into Berkeley County. So what I've done is I've expanded our traffic enforcement unit and also put speed measuring devices, radars in all of our sheriff's deputies' vehicles, so that it's a consolidated effort to go after this issue. It is a daily issue. Just yesterday, we did a operation over on Highway 41, dangerous road traveled by a lot of people. Wrote a number of tickets and warnings. We collaborated with the city of Charleston police, and we do that periodically in that area because you got Clements Ferry, part of it's in the city, all of it's in the county. So we work together on those issues and try to keep people from getting injured or killed.
Yes, sir, absolutely. So, where exactly is the aggressive driving in Berkeley County?
It's all over. There's not one single place that it doesn't occur.
And where have you gotten the most calls from, Sheriff?
I've gotten the most calls from the Nexton community, Cane Bay community, 41, Clements Ferry, those areas, 17A, South Live, and those areas, South Live Oak Drive. And then in some neighborhoods, we also get complaints regularly about speeders.
And this is a crazy question, Sheriff, because I ran into it last week when I was running here on the Battery. But sometimes you'll have some people going the wrong way down a one-way street. Is that the issue in Berkeley County?
Yeah, we see that. I think we just saw someone this week was driving the wrong way on the interstate, and there was a fatality. And it's dangerous. I mean, people have to pay attention, and what we're seeing with aggressive drivers, Um, somebody gets cut off trying to merge. That person gets angry, blows a horn, makes gestures. Um, Sometimes those folks pull over side of the road and there's an assault, a fight. Um, it gets out of hand. People are very emotional about this traffic. And I just say, stay in your car, be safe. You
Right.
know, okay, somebody cut you off. It's not the end of the world. You know, just try to move on with your day and not let it affect you.
Yes, indeed, absolutely. So how many people have actually moved into Berkeley County since 2021?
You hit me with a number I don't have. It is um, it's a lot. I mean,
Uh,
all you have to do is ride through Goose Creek, the Somerville area of Berkeley, the lower portion of Moncks Corner. You're seeing a big spurt of growth in the Moncks Corner area. Clements Ferry Road, Highway 41, all that area is just exploding, and
yes,
people are coming here from all over the country.
yes,
They
they are.
like to enjoy our weather and our low taxes.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly right. Now, obviously, you've been getting a lot of calls recently, Sheriff. So, how much have you reduced response times to calls by?
Well, we analyzed that last year. I did have a little bit of delay in my response times because I had a number of vacant positions last year. We were down like 35 deputies, and an equal a number in the detention center, corrections officers. So that did cut down. Our response times were down to about 4 minutes
Wow.
in some areas, but it has gone up as high as 6 now because of the manpower shortage. I'm having to shift people around and take people out of specialized units and put them back in the patrol squads to get the calls answered.
Now, how many more positions do you need to be filled so that you can take care of this manpower?
I need about a dozen. Um, I have about a dozen positions of vacant right now. So we've been slowly working. We've been doing a lot of recruiting. Just put up 2 billboards, electronic billboards, recruiting, telling people who we are and what we are about. And we're also looking at our pay issues. I'll be discussing that with county council here in the next few months. Try to be competitive and stay competitive with the surrounding agencies. A lot of folks that have left the sheriff's office have left law enforcement altogether for the private sector,
Right.
and I can rarely compete with that when it
Yes.
comes to pay.
So how many people have actually left law enforcement altogether from the Berkeley County Sheriff's Office?
I would say we probably had in the last 3 years we probably had close to 30 plus.
Wow.
That's total. You know, just got out totally out of law enforcement.
Wow. And Sheriff, let me ask you, where do you want that pay to be for your law enforcement officers to actually match the area agencies pay as well?
Well, we're studying that issue right now. I don't have those exact numbers, but what we're discovering is some of the larger municipalities and agencies they have resources that we don't have because of our lower tax base.
Mhm.
But we're working with county council. They've been very good to me. Administration's been very good to me and helping me tackle this problem. Deputies have gotten raises for the last 4 years, every year. But we get raises, and then another agency will uh, institute another raise or infuse cash into some of their positions, and it just it's like any profession. They all talk to each other. They all know who's doing what and how much they're making, and it's just very competitive.
Uh, so is that part of your plan to obviously recruit more officers to your agency?
Yes, what we're doing, in addition to the billboards, we've been going to colleges and universities. Um, I think Monday we had a group of high school students we met with at a job fair. So what we're looking to target the high school folks. We now can hire because of the change in state law. We can hire 18-year-old to work in the detention center. So when they look at that pay scale, 40 some $1,000 to be a detention officer, they're it kind of grabs their attention. And so we've got a number of those folks once they graduate in June have already committed to coming to work for us at the detention center. Unfortunately, I can't hire 18-year-olds as a deputy.
Right.
They have to be 21.
Yes, sir. So what resources do you need right now in the detention center?
I need people. I need good, honest, hardworking people. It's a challenging position, but there are some rewards to it. A lot of times it's a springboard to people becoming a regular police officer or deputy sheriff. They'll work a year or two inside the detention facility, get to learn, how we do things and how we operate, and then I'll move them over once they're ready. So
Now, yeah.
it's been very successful for us.
And I know, Sheriff, you mentioned because of the low tax base in Berkeley County that you're lacking a lot of resources. So what resources on the sheriff's office side do you need right now?
I really just need manpower. I need more. I need to fill the vacancies essentially. Once I get those, then we can tackle the other issues. Like I said, council's been very good to me. We have all of the updated modern equipment necessary, all the tools to take care of the people's problems in the county and protect themselves while they're doing their job. We got the latest, greatest computer equipment in the vehicles. We just we had 43 vehicles ordered that are coming in, so that helps as well with morale because that's their office. They spend 12-hour plus inside that vehicle.
That's exactly right. And so how do you hope to redistribute your deputies to provide faster service in response to your rural areas?
Well, what we've done is we've instituted a program over the last probably 4 or 5 years. We've put substations in some of the rural areas where we don't have a deputy position there, but it's a place for the public to come do business with the deputy. It's a place for the deputy to come and do his or her paperwork, meet with citizens so they don't have to come to Moncks Corner. The second phase of that is we have volunteers from the community come and open the office and answer the phones and greet the public. We train them. They have a background check and they learn our systems. And I think in the Cross community right now we have close to 20 volunteers working in that one substation at different times. And so the Alvin substation is our hub for the North District, and then we have another substation in Cainhoy, Hugie area. So we kind of spread them out across the rural areas in Berkeley County. And in addition to that, we just opened a substation in Sangaree community. We have one in Cane Bay at the fire station, and one in Goose Creek on Red Bank Road.
Yes, sir. So as Berkeley County continues to grow, where do you want to have more substations located?
Well, we constantly evaluate that as the need arises. What we've seen is it kind of brings, when we put that substation, it brings the community together. They help us tackle their problems with crime, and violence in their neighborhoods or communities. It's something that I'm constantly evaluating and looking at. I think in some cases you can overdo that. So I want to be very careful about where I put those and how we distribute that manpower. We also, the second phase of that is we have what's called community action team deputies. These deputies are assigned to specific communities and they stay in that community and they work with the substation, with the community leaders, and tackle the problem.
Now, Sheriff, let me ask you, how many full-time employees do you actually have employed by your agency?
Right now, with the detention center, I think we've got close to 280, I think.
And how many are actually full-time sworn deputies, and how many are actually detention deputies?
We've got close to 100 detention officers.
Yeah.
And so when you say deputies, I have to provide security for the courts,
Yes.
civil process,
Right.
Judgments, civil side, in addition to transport, where we have to transport people to different facilities around the state, juvenile transports. So it's more than just road patrol people. We also, have to protect the magistrate's offices and that kind of thing during court. In addition to, our warrants team, they're out serving the warrants. So it's a lot more than just the patrol people that are out there. The courts have kicked up. There've been an increase in activity in the courts now that COVID had kind of died down. So we're having to put people there to make sure everybody's safe, and so it's a lot. It's not it's never dull around here, I can tell you.
Yes, sir, absolutely. So, how many people have you put over there in that court area since COVID has actually died down?
Well, we've had to readjust. Some of those folks during COVID, we didn't have court,
Right.
So we put those folks on the road or in different areas. So I think we're back to about a dozen deputies or so that are over there working at any given time. They're moving inmates back and forth from the detention center to the courthouse so they can have their day in court.
Yes, sir. And going back to the budget, Sheriff, let me ask you: when you look at this current budget coming up, what will be your budget restraints there?
Well, we have to evaluate. There's only one pot of money,
Yeah.
and you have all these other departments that are asking for manpower and equipment. So the council, we just have to evaluate. I know that the administration and county council has a focus on public safety. They know that their responsibilities to the public and their safety is paramount to other things in the county, which I'm thankful for and very appreciative that they do realize that focus. So again, we're in the evaluating process. So we'll be having a lot of discussions about equipment, different capital projects that we may have going on, and that kind of thing. One thing I did want to mention that we do have a very robust Marine Patrol and dive team and rescue. We have a few years ago the county rescue squad dissolved and they asked us to take it over. So we absorbed that function and the equipment. And I only bring this up because summer will be here very soon. We've had fatalities on our lakes and rivers. We just had two fatalities a couple of weeks ago, unfortunately. So this is a robust program that we have where we put deputies in patrol boats to try to keep people safe. There's alcohol involved a lot of times when folks are out on the water. So once spring starts, we'll be increasing our efforts on the lakes and rivers in Berkeley County, which includes Lake Moultrie, the Tailrace Canal, the Cooper River, all the way to Daniel Island. And so those areas we'll be patrolling and helping the people make sure they're safe.
So, will you have to request extra money for that, or is that just a part of your budget?
No, that's part of my budget. The county funds that. The fuel and equipment and the manpower for it, and it's a collateral duty, so deputies can sign up and get overtime to work those extra collateral duties, and it helps them with their pay as well.
Absolutely.
So it's a very in the spring and summertime, it's a very busy unit and division. They stay very busy, and we respond to emergency calls with the fire departments, the local fire departments, and we've had a number of issues where we've been able to get there in time to save people who were in distress or in the water and that kind of thing. I just want to remind the folks, if they're out on the lakes and rivers, please wear a life jacket. Anything can happen, and we just want people to be safe.
Absolutely. And Sheriff, one last question for you, because I know you got to run, but you mentioned the capital budgets, capital projects, that is. What exactly are those for 2023?
We're looking at, of course, vehicles is our big replacement vehicles. The deputies drive a lot of miles, and those cars, and vehicles become worn like our vehicles do. So we'll be looking at that, trying to figure out the numbers. We're doing some replacement of ballistic vest, the protective vest that the deputies wear. We're looking at that. Every 5 years, we have to replace all of our safety vest and protective vest. So we'll be looking at it. That's a big capital item. Cars, the vest. We'll be looking at some equipment for the rescue side of the sheriff's office, updating some equipment that's kind of out of date, and so we're constantly evaluating. We have to evaluate our equipment, because in a time of need, it has to work and it has to be ready and efficient, and the people have to be trained in it. So we'll be looking at some of those things for capital.
Now, how many vehicles that you have had to actually replace in the past 6 months, for instance?
Well, what we do is on a yearly cycle. So last year we received 43 vehicles, new vehicles. So the problem, Quintin, is, so when COVID came, we couldn't get these vehicles. There was delays and delays. We're still receiving vehicles from 2021 budget they're just slowly getting here, and then you have to upfit those vehicles with cameras, radars, radios, blue lights. It takes months and months. It actually takes us a year and about 3 months before we actually get those vehicles, all the vehicles from a previous year, outfitted.
Wow. And how many of those cars have been actually outfitted so far?
So we just about, I think I'm looking out in the parking lot now. I see there's about 4 or 5 out there that are left from the last budget. So we're very close, but you can see we're into February and we're a year and a half behind.
Yikes. Well, I hope to continue this conversation in the next couple of months here, but Berkeley County Sheriff Duane Lewis, thank you for your time. And again, welcome to Quintin's Close Stops for the first time.
Thank you very much for having me, and hope to see you again soon.
Oh, yes, right here downtown.
Yes, sir.